If you're a salon or spa owner, cosmetology school gave you the skills to serve clients, but it didn't prepare you to run a business. You probably thought ownership would mean freedom, but instead you're working harder than ever, barely paying yourself, and worried that everything's going to fall apart the second you step away. Welcome to the station, where we give you real strategies, systems, and structure so you can step into the CEO seat where you belong. Hey friends, welcome back to the station. This is the podcast for salon and spa owners who are ready to step into leadership, create real profitability, and finally build a business that gives you your life back. I'm Bree, founder of the Beauty Biz Agency, and as always, I have the amazing Chandra here, my co-host, co-founder, and bestie. How are you, girl?
Hello, I'm doing really good.
Awesome. All right, well, today we are going to dive into something that most owners love to avoid. Just love it. We're going to talk about cash reserves. I know, not flashy, not super fun. It's not as exciting as talking about marketing or social media or new services or whatever. But here's the thing. Without cash reserves, your entire business can be one slow season away from a full-blown panic spiral. We have seen it over and over again. People get a few cancellations, a couple of slower weeks, a stylist out on leave, and suddenly owners are maxing out credit cards. They are slashing prices or making those reactive decisions that they regret really, really quickly. And I think that's why this conversation matters so much. So we're going to talk about why reserves are a non-negotiable, how much you actually need to keep in order to keep your business stable, and how to build them in without starving your growth. Because this right here, this is the difference between leading from fear and leading from power. So let's talk about what this actually looks like inside of your salon business. Chandra, I think one of the first things that we need to clear up as we talk about this is that profit and reserves are not the same thing. Not even close to the same thing, right? And I think this is usually the part that nobody plans for. They think those two go hand in hand. People will hit like this great month, they'll feel momentum, and before they know it, they think they have all this money, but then they pay their bills and every dollar is already spoken for. And then when something hits, there is nothing left to catch the fall. An AC goes out, whatever it is, there's no money there. Profit and reserves are two totally different things, but they both matter. They both matter. Profit is what shows your business is actually healthy. That's the easiest way to put it. It's kind of what allows you to reinvest, to grow, to reward your team, to pay yourself, all of those things. But reserves, that's what keeps your business safe when things get shaky. So in other words, profit fuels growth, reserves protect it. I think that's the best way to say it. So let's talk about the three main reasons that you need cash reserves sitting in an account. And then we'll get into how much you actually need to have in there, because people think $100 is enough and it isn't, why they matter so much and what they are not. But for right now, Chandra, let's focus on the three reasons they need them. Number one, because slow seasons aren't a surprise, right? But they still take owners down if they're not ready. Every single salon owner is going to have slower months. We were just talking about this on our coaching call. It's not a matter of if they're coming, it's a matter of when they're going to hit. You know that dip after the holiday is coming, right? You know summer can get quiet. You know those random stretches where everyone suddenly cancels or reschedules. But even though it's predictable to an extent, especially when you're talking about January, February, most owners still scramble like it's something that they're facing that's brand new every time it happens. The stress hits, the panic sets in, and the whole team can feel everything that's going on. But when you've got reserves sitting there, those dips aren't going to completely wreck your business. You're not going to stress over payroll. You're not pushing desperate promotions or discounts just to try to make ends meet. You can breathe through it and lead with a steady hand instead of that panic. And that right there is the difference between running your salon business or your salon business running you. Chandra, we have coached a lot of owners through, especially like the post-holiday slowdowns, right? What kind of difference do you see between the ones who are prepared ahead of time and the ones who didn't have anything in those reserves at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the ones who were prepared, I mean, they just sail right through it. They're not stressed. They continue working on the business. They continue moving forward. They continue doing everything that they've been doing the whole time. I feel like the ones that aren't prepared instantly stop. Like they hit a wall. They're stressed. They instantly quit working on the business. They instantly quit trying to get that momentum because they just panic and they shut down. And then I feel like everything just sort of stops. Your team's frustrated because you're frustrated. And it's just a domino effect. And I think that, when you are prepared, things just keep going. You keep moving forward. You keep doing things. And when you're not, it just really it hits you. And I think that they just get stagnant.
Absolutely. So number one is about those slow seasons, right? Those slow seasons. Number two is about the what if moments that never ask for permission. Those what if moments, they hit. They don't care what you're going through, what you're dealing with, how you're doing. They don't give a crap. And this is really the part that I think that hits the hardest. The water heater goes out. The AC dies in the middle of July. Two top stylists go out on maternity leave at the same time. A freak storm forces you to shut down for a week. COVID, everybody, COVID. A key team member walks out without notice. All of these things. And these aren't rare things that we face in our industry. They're part of business ownership. The truth is, it's not the actual problem that usually breaks the owners down. It's the unpreparedness for the things. When you have reserves, you're not skipping your own paycheck. You're not going into that emergency hustle mode or whatever you want to call it. You deal with it. Like Chandra said, you move on, you protect your energy instead of getting the situation that just drains you and dries you up and makes you want to curl into a ball and cry. Chandra, when you've worked with owners who actually had that cushion, that reserve, how different is their energy maybe compared to the ones who don't? Because we talked about how you see it, but the energy, to me, that is everything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like their energy is always really high. They're always, looking for the next biggest thing to do. And I feel like they're just always positive. They're not all grumpy and angry and negative about everything, It's like they're just happy and they're trying to, just make things even better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's true. You can just see it. You can see the stress and the wrinkles and the worry and the gray hairs all come out when people don't have those things, right? But when they do have them, it just looks different. I'm not saying it's the end all be all. Like everybody still, business owners still stress regardless. That's part of it, but it makes you feel a lot better. The third reason is because when you're leading from fear, everything changes. When there's a financial cushion sitting in your bank, let's say, your entire posture as a leader shifts. The leadership part. You're not making desperate decisions. You're not white knuckling every slow week or second guessing every next step. You have room to actually think, to plan, to prepare. You have space to breathe. You can actually lead instead of react. And I know that is a phrase that we repeat over and over and over on this podcast, but it's so true. Leaders don't react. They don't. They lead. They do what they're supposed to do. When you are steady as the leader, your team is going to feel safe. Your clients are going to pick up on that energy. And honestly, yourself, you are going to feel different in every way. You're not just surviving anymore. No business owner should ever just survive. You are leading from this place of strength, from a place of clarity, not scarcity. And that, in my opinion, changes absolutely everything. I will never forget the first time that we had some major things go down in my studio and I actually had money in the bank. Like I remember calling my husband and we had our AC go out. We had pipes burst in our salon. Our front window got broken. All of this happened within like a 2-week time span. Normally, I would call my husband and just like be bawling, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to close my business. Like, this is horrible. But I called him and I was like, oh, we had a horrible week. This happened, this happened, this happened. For those of you that don't know, my husband works out of town all the time. So we do everything by phone. But he was like, you're not freaking out. And I was like, nope, sure not, because I have money in the bank. Chandra, when an owner finally hits that point where they've got those real reserves sitting there, how do you think it affects the way that they lead differently?
Oh, I think it totally changes the way that they lead. I think that when you have that burden off your shoulders, that financial stress, you can actually focus on the things that are going to matter, the focus on the things that are going to move the business forward. When you have financial stress, I feel like it takes over every part of you. You can't think straight. You make those rash decisions. You're not paying attention to the bigger picture because you're so stressed just trying to pay the rent or keep the lights on or pay for the AC that went out, whatever that looks like. And I think that when you have that financial freedom, I mean, you're always going to have some financial stress to some degree, but when you have money in the bank, you don't have to have that burden. And I think that burden makes it so much easier for you to do everything else. Like, even if you're going to let someone go, those stressful employees that we talk about all the time that you might be keeping because you're afraid to lose revenue, you don't have to be afraid of that anymore because you know you can sustain until you get something else. So it takes a lot of that weight off your shoulders for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, we all know slow seasons are going to happen. Curveballs are literally guaranteed. The thing is, panic is optional when you have those reserves. I still see some salon owners panic with reserves, but it's optional at that point, right? It's like, okay, I can still freak out if I want to, but things are going to be paid. When panic is optional, your life is in a whole new different era, and it is absolutely amazing. The difference between panic and power is the plan that you build ahead of time. And that starts with having reserves. Okay, so we talked about why you actually need those reserves. Let's get into the numbers just a little bit because this isn't just about feeling secure. This is about protecting your business when things get real because they're going to. The goal here is a minimum of 3 months of operating expenses. We like to say in BBA 6 months, but hey, we will take 3 all day, every day. And when we say operating expenses, we are talking about the bare bones of what it takes to keep your doors open, your payroll, your rent, your back bar, your utilities, all the non-negotiables. For a lot of you guys, that number might sound really big, 3 months. And for some of you, it might even feel absolutely impossible right now. But this is where we need you to hear us. You don't build 3 months overnight. We get that. We understand. So calm down. You're going to build it brick by brick. If all you can start with is 1 month, that alone will change everything for you. That 1 month is going to give you some breathing room. It's going to buy you a little bit of time. It keeps you from spiraling the second that something unexpected hits. But when you hit that 3-month mark, that's where you're able to start leading from real stability, not just survival. And I have to say this again, this is not your profit that you see on your spreadsheet or your tracker, okay, guys? This is real, actual money in its own account, sitting there quietly. It does not get touched unless it is absolutely necessary. It's your safety net, not your spending account. Big difference. Big difference. We're not going to go buy new equipment because we want it out of this reserve, right? It's your safety net. Chandra, when an owner actually gets to that point where they have that 3 months sitting in there, because I feel like once you hit that 3-month mark, it's easier just to build and build and build from there. What kind of shift do you see in the way that they run their business when it comes to making financial decisions? Because I feel like the more they save, the smarter they get when it comes to spending.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've seen that a ton of times when we've been helping everyone get to that point. And I think the biggest thing is you start actually making your decisions off of data instead of off of fear, instead of off of whatever rash decision you're making because you have no choice right now at the minute you think, right? And so I think when you start actually looking at data, you start seeing that money in the bank, you start feeling better, you start making smarter decisions because you don't want to go back to that place where you were at. You're happy now, it's calm now, and you want to stay there and you want to make that even better. And so they definitely, it's a huge shift in decision making, I feel like, when they start to hit that tipping point around that 3-month mark for sure.
It's kind of funny because there's this fine line between wants and needs, I think, for salon owners specifically, right? There's this really, really fine line. And guys, you really need to think about that. What are your wants? What are your needs? These reserves, like I said earlier, it is not for renovations or new furniture or a trip that you want to take your team on. It's not for bonuses. It's not for any of that. The profit account, that is for the things that you want to do. If you have profit, you can choose what to do with that. These are for the unexpected times only, like only the emergencies. When you blur that line between wants and needs, you are literally setting yourself up for that panic mode when a real storm hits. So protecting this reserve account, guarding it like it's sacred, that's part of being a strong leader. So you're really going to have to shift your mindset and train yourself on the difference in wants and needs, because there is a big difference. And if you're out there right now and you are thinking, Bree, Chandra, this all sounds great, but I can barely even cover my bills as it is. Look, Chandra and I, we get it. We've been there. But if you will just take the steps that we are fixing to give you, I promise you, you can make this happen. It may take you a little more time, but you can make it happen. So let's walk through these steps really, really quickly. The first thing that we want you guys to do after this episode or whenever you get time is sit down and calculate whatever your true monthly operating expenses are. I'm not talking about a random guess, guys. I need you to sit down and figure it out. We need your payroll, your rent, your back bar, your utilities, everything that it takes to keep those doors open and the lights on, right? That number is going to be your baseline target. Then we want you to pick your first milestone. If you have nothing saved right now at all, don't overwhelm yourself like we said with all 3 months. Just start with 1 month. That is your goal. I don't care if it's $10 a month, but 1 month of real reserves is enough to change how you breathe when things get hard. Next, you need to choose a percentage. So even 1 to 2% of monthly revenue is enough to get the ball rolling into that cash reserve account. What matters here is consistency, not speed. Then I want you to automate it. Make it a non-negotiable. Don't wait just to see what's left all the time. That account should get funded when everything else does. Not last, not what's left over. You pick that amount and you get it put in there. And finally, and this part matters, every time your salon has a win, skim a little extra off the top. If you choose you want 1% in there and that's what you're going to put every month, but you have a record-breaking month, you know where your profitability is, everybody's paid, add that 3% instead of the 1%. It is so much easier to build when things are good than it is when things are tight. So take those wins and use them. Build those habits now so that when life throws something at you later, you don't have to scramble. This is not one of those someday moves. It has to be done. It is non-negotiable. It is one of the most powerful things you can do. And it causes you to lead from strength instead of fear. Chandra, from your own experience, what changed when you were finally able to have minimum 3 months of reserves sitting in that account for you? Like, what shifted for you as an owner when that safety net was actually real, sitting there, you saw the numbers?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what we've been talking about, just like you feel so much lighter, you feel less stressed, you feel like the burden, that financial burden is gone. You don't realize, I think sometimes how much that's actually affecting you on a day-to-day basis until you can get rid of that burden. And then you realize, wow, this was weighing really heavy on me all the time, forever. And I think, that was the biggest change for me. It's like all of a sudden you feel lighter, you feel less stressed. You just walk through your day in such a better, positive attitude and outlook, and everybody around you feeds off of that, your employees, your family, like everyone. And so I think that would be the biggest change for me. And I had to start really small. Like I was not in a good financial spot. And I think I even started with like $100 out of every deposit, which was not even 1%, right? And so because I was just like worried. And so you don't have to make it be a big stressful thing. If you even start with anything, that 1% or whatever you can do, if you make that automatic, you don't even notice. Like that money just goes away. And then you check your reserve account like a month later and you're like, oh, there's actually a decent amount of money in there. It adds up quick. So just do it. Just make it be whatever you can, and just start doing it. It makes such a difference.
I agree with you. I didn't realize the weight that it put on me as a business owner. Financially, those financial decisions are such a heavy weight. I didn't realize in the back of my mind how often I was thinking, okay, I've got a little bit of profit sitting here. I'm finally paying myself. I'm doing all the things. But if something happens, I'm not going to get my paycheck anymore. And so having those reserves really allowed me and my family to continue to make sure that they were taken care of and the business was taken care of as well. So it really does make a huge difference. And it's going to look different for all of you guys. It's going to look different, but you have to set that extra account, that reserve account, call it something where you don't like legit on my online banking. It says, do not touch. That is the name of my account. Do not touch in bold, big letters, because I don't touch it unless I absolutely have to. And put it in a savings account that's going to earn interest, something that's going to earn interest, because I earn an extra couple of $100 every single year on that money just sitting there. Heck yeah, that's free money, right? Like that's a great thing to do. So think about all of that. I know this episode probably got a few wheels turning for most of you. So before we wrap up, just remember, this needs to be a non-negotiable. You need to be able to breathe. I promise you, it will change your life in so many ways. With that being said, Chandra, let's shift gears for just a second. We love ending these episodes with a listener question that isn't always tied to the topic, because as owners, I feel like there's always something simmering in the background in our brains. So today's question is, how do I stop clients from texting me at all hours without losing them? I think, Chandra, when you answer this one, I'm not sure if this is a solo or a salon owner because it wasn't specified. So maybe answer it from both standpoints.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to set those clear boundaries as to what your working hours are, when you're going to respond to people. If you're an owner and you don't have a front desk or something that you can kind of send them to, like I would usually just have them call the salon, or I'd have the salon call them back instead of me doing it, because that kind of would train them to get off of that. But if you're a solo, or if you don't have that option, I think the biggest thing is really setting that time. You can even set like automatic responses a lot of times in your phone or in your communications that will just send them back something, letting them know you will respond back to them in X amount of time. I think we're guilty of doing that all the time, where we answer and we talk all the time, and then people get used to that and they just think, oh, you're going to book them at, midnight. And it's like, you just can't be tied to that degree. So I think really either way, just setting, these are my office hours. I'm working from this time to this time, and if you have to shoot them back a communication for something early the next day, do it. But I just think setting those clear boundaries.
I agree. And I think you'd be surprised at the amount of clients that you won't lose. People usually understand as long as you start setting those boundaries. People usually understand. Sure, they're going to take advantage of it if you allow them to. But once you're clear on why you're doing it, people are very, very understandable for the most part. And honestly, if they're not, that isn't a client that you need or want anyway. That's just the reality of the situation. If you are a commission salon owner, you're still behind the chair, you should not be texting your clients privately regardless. They shouldn't even have your cell phone number anymore. Everything should move through your front desk system, 1,000,000%. With that being said, let's circle back to what today was really about for just a second. When you've got those reserves sitting in that account, you are just going to lead differently. You're not sitting there doing mental math every time something shifts. You're not holding your breath, waiting for the next curveball just to knock the wind right out of you. You can focus on so many more bigger things. You've got something solid underneath you. And when you've got that, it really will change your entire life. It might not be loud. It's not flashy, but it really is power. It is one of the most powerful things you can do. Guys, all of this is exactly what we teach at the Beauty Biz Agency. We have something in our mastery program that is like Profit First, but it's for salons on freaking steroids. So you've got Profit First, you've got Profit First for salons, and then you've got VBA's Profit First for salons on steroids. Trust me when I say you need it in your life, because a solid business isn't just built on good months. It's built on structure that can hold up when things get hard. So if you are ready to build that kind of stability, head over to our website, thebeautybizagency.com. We have amazing tools, amazing resources, coaching options, and systems that can help you make every single thing that we talk about every week real. If this episode spoke to you, if it helped you, please share it with another salon owner who needs to hear it. And don't forget to leave us that 5-star review so that other owners can find us. We greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure that you're subscribed so you never miss out on what we have coming up next. Chandra, how can they do that?
Yeah, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Beauty Biz Agency or the Beauty Biz Mentors on TikTok. And you can check us out live the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. Central Time. We'll answer questions on the air on Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you come to that too. You'll definitely get a lot.
Absolutely, guys. We would love to see you there. We have some amazing resources that go along with our BBA lives that will absolutely change the way that you run your salon. With that being said, that's a wrap. You've been listening to The Station, the podcast where salon owners stop reacting and start leading like the CEOs they were meant to be. Until next time, protect your margins, build your cushion, and lead from stability, not stress. Now go out there, make bank, run the show, and ditch that chair. And as always, keep slaying those business goals with a whole lot of swagger. If this episode lit a fire under you, don't just walk away and let it die out. Deep down, you already know where you want your business and your life to go. And the truth is, the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is a real plan to get you there. That's exactly what we help you build. So if you're ready to stop trying to figure it out on your own, head to thebeautybizagency.com and book your free strategy call. That call can give you the clarity that you've been needing and a real plan to move your business forward. Because at the end of the day, the only thing standing between you and the salon business you've been dreaming about is whether or not you're willing to take the action and the steps in order to build it.